Hello, thank you so much for allowing me to take part in this congress. This study deals with a critical discourse analysis of Biden and Harris. This research focuses on the 2024 pre-electoral debates, completely on the topic of economy and employment. This presentation is divided as follows. First of all, I'm going to talk about my objectives and methodology, and then the results obtained and conclusions. My objectives are, on the one hand, to examine the stance-taking strategies employed by each of these political candidates, that is Biden and Kamala, and on the other, to analyze how these strategies differ between them despite their shared political affiliation, specifically in relation to the topic of economy and employment. This study consists of a mixed method approach. The qualitative analysis reinforces the quantitative data obtained by means of the UAM Corpus tool developed by McDonald. This tool, first of all, I had to upload the pre-electoral debates of Kamala and Biden in text format, and then once this text was uploaded, I could create a different layers. With the first layer that I created was the one related with the speakers, that is Biden and Kamala. Once this layer was created, I manually tagged these texts or these pre-electoral debates, those belonging to Biden and those to Kamala Harris. Then the second layer that I created is the one related with the topic under investigation, that is the topic of economy and employment. So once this layer was created, I manually tagged those pieces of the text related to economy and employment, and those that were not related, like immigration, foreign affairs, were excluded from, they were not part of this research interest. And the third and last layer that I created is the one related with the synthetic model that I've created for this analysis. My synthetic model consists of the combination of two different theoretical frameworks, that is, on the one hand, effective and epistemic stance markers, and on the other, those rhetorical strategies of ethos and pathos. Ethos refers to the establishment of authority and credibility to persuade and exert influence. Pathos refers to the use of emotional appeal as a rhetorical strategy, employing emotive language to elicit emotional responses from the audience. Those legitimizing strategies of effectivity and epistemicity, the former relates to the expressions through which speakers convey their attitudes towards an event, including judgments of desirability, intentionality, necessity, possibility. As we can see in this table, Marina Resse presents different categories within effective stance, that is, deontic markers, assessments, attitudinals, directives. The other legitimizing strategy, that is epistemicity. These are linguistic expressions through which the speaker's conceptualizer conveys knowledge about an event or provides an assessment of its potential occurrence. Also, as noted in this table, Marina Resse identifies different subcategories like epistemic modality, truth factual validity, and different evidential markers like experiential, cognitive, and communicative domains, right? So my intention with this synthetic model is to analyze how these speakers make use of those legitimizing strategies, that is, effective and epistemic stance markers, presenting these legitimizing strategies by means of ethos and pathos communicative strategies. My results are divided into two different sections. That is, one of them, the first one, relates to those in-group members. That is how these two speakers involve those agents as part of their own group, and the second section relates to out-group. That is how they tend to attack their opponent Donald Trump, how they attack Trump's policies concerning economic policies. In the first and second example, we can see how these two candidates, that is Biden and Kamala Harris, make use of linguistic strategies as ethos. In the first example, we can see that Biden makes a frequent use of the epistemic stance marker, make sure, implying a high degree of certainty and confidence by means of ethos. He seeks to persuade his audience that investment in childcare will produce positive economic outcomes. This use of the epistemic stance marker is further reinforced with the use of attitudinal markers like we're going to make sure that we reduce the price of housing. We're going to make sure we cap rents, expressing his shared intention by means of the intersubjective explicit marker, we, involving both himself and his political party. He further contributes to this construction of ethos, portraying himself and his party as the principal main agents responsible for implementing strategic economic measures aimed at strengthening the American economy. The second example, Harris, on the contrary, makes use of attitudinal markers, but in this case, by means of explicit subjective markers, that is, I intend my plan, which may be interpreted as an effort to recapture the attention and interest of those who had grown disillusioned with President Biden, by suggesting that she is personally committed to improving Americans' economic conditions and to build the aspirations and hopes of the American people. She foregrounds individual agency as a means of restoring confidence and credibility. This, to some extent, suggests this use of this ethos dimension. In example 3 and 4, we can see how these two candidates tend to attack their opponent differently. In the third example, Biden, we can see that Biden makes use of directives which inherently can be locutionary force and imperative function. Biden employs pathos in this instance by shaping an emotional response within the American audience, portraying himself and his party as having inherited a country left in adverse conditions by Trump's administration. Biden's discourse may also imply the necessity of continued action, positioning the re-election of his party as a solution of existing problems and as a means of sustaining economic growth in the United States. Harris, in example 4, however, conveys a degree of hesitation or reduced certainty in her communicative event by means of the epistemic stance marker would. Harris adopting the role of a political, let's say, rescuer, seeking to regain public attention and support in the aftermath of perceived controversies or diminished approval, appears more tentative in her discourse. She privileges observable and ostensibly objective data over subjective or experiential narratives as seen in Biden's rhetorical approach. To conclude, as can be noted, both speakers, although belonging to the same political affiliation and sharing the same ideology, make use of different legitimizing and rhetorical strategies. One may argue that the contextual efforts and interests are different, are distinct, given that Biden, as the previous president of the United States, may show to some extent more confidence and certainty in his communicative practices. However, Harris, as the substitute of Biden and the new political candidate in the Democratic Party, may be more tentative and show more uncertainty in her discursive events, given that she seems to be attempting to regain the interest and attention of their respective audiences. Thank you so much for your